Okay, I just want to say all these lawyers on YouTube are a bunch of idiots. Idiots. I'm going to be a pesky citizen for a little bit here. So, me being a pesky citizen, I'm going to hold these two bullets up. Which one of these two bullets is fake? Which one's a dummy round? Nobody knows. Oh, you got to look at the primer. Now, if you're watching this video and you're listening to me and you're a lawyer, you're probably wondering, why is that one red? Well, we haven't seen a red primer. We've seen these shiny ones. We've seen ones with holes in the center of them because they've been shot in a gun. But why is that one red? That one's red because that's a snap cap. Just a hunk of metal, hunk of copper and brass, with a piece of rubber in the back of it, rubberized material. I can mark it with my fingernail, and it goes away. This is designed to catch my firing pin when I pull my trigger of my gun. So I could pull out my AR, I could put this in the magazine, I could pull the trigger, and I can wreck the slide. And yeah, it will eject this bullet. And there, I was able to function test my gun. I could put a round in it. I can see if the magazine will feed, see if the gun will feed, see if the trigger pulls, and, eject. So yeah, this is good training. Now, one thing I haven't heard anyone talk about is why weren't they using snap caps on this set? The set of Rust. Nobody was using snap caps. Makes no sense. They should have had boxes just of snap caps. But what was Seth Kenney doing? And this is the far-fetched thing. What I'm starting to believe, and I think they're doing from the testimony that I've heard, is they were taking a live bullet. They were shooting it and getting the brass, or they were getting the brass from a company. And they were loading it with something that looked like a primer, maybe a bad primer, I don't know. But maybe they were putting primers in it and popping the primers. And it just so happened, as dumb luck would be it, one of those rounds that had the primer struck was a live round that somehow got mixed in, because it ain't hard to just jumble these up and not know what's what, especially if the primer's the same. And that's the reason why they made this bigger, and they put that in there. So I've seen orange ones and gray ones. So I just don't understand why nobody's talking about snap caps. Nobody's talking about protecting the firearm when the trigger's pulled, metal on metal parts. Now, yeah, I know we could argue it probably won't damage it, but there are guys out there that say it will damage it, dry firing your gun so much. So that's why they were using bullets that had the primer struck, because it looked realistic. And that's where I'm just left with the question, like, I've seen a movie lately where they loaded a round and the primer was struck, so everyone could tell it was a dummy round, supposedly, which really, it should have had a piece of rubber in there to protect it. And then you really know this is a dummy round, not a live bullet, because as you can see, those two things are definitely bigger and different. And if you know anything about your gun, which it is rocket science and it ain't rocket science, I mean, they're all pretty much the same thing. And if you don't understand, like, how to change a tire, you probably won't understand how to work a single-action Army revolver. Sarah Zachary, for a prime example. Bet you that girl couldn't change a tire to save her life. So what makes you think she can work this single-action gun? Like Seth Kenney being a cop and talking like a cop. Where are your snap caps? You're not talking about protecting the firing pin, so you're over there being some jackboot, and you want to dump all this blame on this girl who, quality control, yeah, if and buts and coconuts, she should have caught it. But that butt's a big F-U. What if she didn't catch something that looked like the ammo they were using? One of those live rounds that was struck that someone thought was a dummy got thrown in there. And now we know what happened. It wasn't sabotage. It wasn't some great conspiracy. It was just a loose round and some guy that had bad business practices by not using snap caps and instead preferring to use primers of real firearms, real bullets in his props for continuity. But with that being said, I digress. Hopefully I made a point here.